What's up people, this is Category 4 and this is my paperback hardcover comic book graphic novel collection that I thought I'd do. I already did this video, I kind of already did this video, but I think I can do a better job at it. I don't think it was as good as it could have been. So I'm going to do another one, and I recently got a small table for my room. So I don't have to stand up and find places to put the books while I'm not always out of camera, keep cutting and stuff like that. So I've just got a table I can just put them on, move into the side and stuff, which is so much more easier. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to do my Marvel stuff, then my DC, and then my other stuff. So yeah, I'll start off with the Marvel, and I'll start off with my hardcovers first. Two of my hardcovers and a paperback I got from my brother for Christmas about 2 years ago. Alright, so these were just a random present I got from him for Christmas. So, first one is a hardcover of Wolverine back in Japan, which I read through not too long ago. It was a good story, really interesting. I haven't really read Wolverine stuff before. I've seen him in movies, the cartoons and stuff like that, but I'm not too sure what his character's like in the comic books. And yeah, it was a really good read, a good amount of characters. I know a lot about the Marvel Universe at that time, with appearances from Sabretooth, Mystique, the Silver Samurai's son, stuff like that. It was a good story. Yeah, and I learned a bit about Wolverine's past as well, which was pretty cool. Another one he got me was a collection of an X-Men collection volume, volume 2 I think this was, which collected X-Men 7 to 11, issues 7 to 11, and he knew Spider-Man's one of my favourite characters, so he got me this with the X-Men and Spider-Man involved. I'll give you a closer look there. This was an interesting read to see how the team was compared to what I'd seen in TV shows and stuff, and the original team. It was different. How the teams changed and stuff. The looks of some of the characters was pretty cool. The villain of the book was pretty cool to see as well, and obviously having Spider-Man guest appear was pretty cool. Now I haven't read either of these yet, but I'm going to save them for a time when I'm just going to save them for another time. But in the UK we got these the Ultimate Graphic Novel Collection for Marvel, which they released a hardcover full of a bunch of issues, just a bunch of issues depending on a certain character or subject. And so I've got two of them here. One of them is about Spider-Man. It's called The Amazing Spider-Man Revelations and Until the Stars Turn Cold, which is a big collection of a bunch of Spider-Man issues. There you go, Spider-Man Volume 2, issues 37 to 45. So yeah, and plus the artwork is pretty badass as well. So I'm going to save that probably until maybe until like Spider-Man. Normally I start reading comics, some comic stuff up to a certain event, so I might read this when the next Spider-Man film comes out, like in the Marvel Universe. I'll probably be so pumped that I'll probably start reading this just randomly. Another one I've got here that I'm going to save for a certain occasion or something like that. And it's another one which is Marvel Origins the 60s, which gives the origin story of the Avengers, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the Hulk. So yeah, I'm going to save, and the X-Men, I'm going to wait to a certain event and then probably read through this. And with the Marvel Universe going to change sometime this year, I'll probably do it around then maybe. So I've got that to read, which is good, although I've already read the origin story of Iron. Sorry for the cut there, there was a knock at the door. I had to go collect a package from... Okay, now I get on to my paperbacks, and this was my first paperback I ever got, which is the Marvel Platinum, the Definitive Iron Man collection, which I got from my dad's. I don't know if it was around the time the first Iron Man film came out, and I was already a big fan of Iron Man from the 90s TV series, so in case you don't know, Marvel-wise, my favourite, I don't have one favourite, I have two favourites, which is Iron Man and Spider-Man, so just so you know. And I've read a good amount of this, maybe around half, maybe a little less than I think I realised. But it collects a bunch of different stories with him fighting the Hulk, getting help from Ant-Man, him going through all his different armours and stuff. The origin story of him, which is also in the 60s, I think, collection. So, yeah. First paperback, and the front cover artwork is pretty damn cool as well. And it's got a... this came out a couple years ago, but it's got like a list of... it shows all the different armours and stuff. Like a long time, like a timeline kind of thing for a couple pages, which is pretty cool. And this is a paperback, the first ever paperback I bought myself, which is War Machine. Like I just said, I'm a big fan of the 90s series, and War Machine I thought was pretty cool in the series and in the Marvel universe. People give the second Iron Man film a lot of flack, but I'm just happy they had War Machine involved in it, so I'm pretty happy about it. And I already know who Iron Patriot is because I had a comic book issue I randomly got from somewhere, so I know who the Iron Patriot is. And this was a pretty good story. This is volume 2 of it, collecting issues 6 to 12, so I might go back and collect the first issue, and maybe if there's any other issues involved with it, because this was just a random buy I got. But really worth it, I really enjoyed the story of it. And here we got something I've only read the first issue of, which is The Amazing Spider-Man Origin of the Hobgoblin. I read the first issue of this. There's a bunch to read though. Ah, my phone just went off, sorry. I'm going to read this, I am going to read this because I'm interested in the Hobgoblin from the comics. Even though I've watched a supervillain origin video by Watch Mojo, I think it was. But I'm still going to read it because I want to know what it's like. So, yeah, I've got that to read. And here's something I've been reading at the moment, which I'm halfway through, which is Spider-Man Saga of the Sandman. It collects a couple issues from when the Amazing Spider-Man comic series just started out, which is pretty cool. I'm about halfway through. It's got a mixture of Spider-Man comics, Fantastic Four comics, and Hulk comics. So yeah, I'm about halfway through it. I'm taking it in small strides. I don't want to just read through it, then I'm done with it for quite a while. I want to read through it. And this was the paperback my brother got me for Christmas, just so you know. So here we go. Now this is something I got same time as the one I got, the Origin of the Hobgoblin. There was a comic book shop near where I live which closed down a couple of years ago, and they had a big sale. They had like I think it was like 20, maybe 50% off certain items, and I wanted to get a bunch of Spider-Man paperbacks because I didn't really have. I have a couple old issues, and so I grabbed what I thought was Spider-Man, which turns out to be the Spectacular Spider-Girl. So I was just like, oh, Spider-Man thing, and grab it because I wanted to read it, and I didn't realise until I got home that it was Spider-Girl, and I haven't read it yet, but I've flicked through the book a couple of times just to see what it looks like in there, and it looks pretty good. It actually looks good. I'm happy I actually got it. I'm going to read through it. I'm just not being motivated to read it at the moment, but it actually looks really good. And something I've read a while back, which has got me interested in looking into the Spider-Girl universe, which I'll show off after these next two paperbacks. Next thing I got, which is Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1, which collects the first 13 issues of the series. I got this from a charity, found it in a charity shop, so I got it for a steal. I saw volumes 2 and 4, which are hard to get, at MCM this last October, but I chose to get a different paperback over them two, which I'm kind of half and half, happy and not happy I did it. Not happy because it's going to be hard for me to get those probably. Happy because the paperback I got was really worth reading, which I will cover in a moment for my DC stuff. I've read a couple issues of it. I need to read more of it. I've just not been motivated at the moment, but yeah. And another volume I got while my comic book shop was closing down at the time was Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 14, which collects issues 79 to 85 of the Ultimate Spider-Man. So yeah. Now here's some smaller, like kind of small paperbacks to show off. And here's what I've got. It's got like a small collection of a couple different issues in it. Spider-Man, Spider-Women, and so there was an issue of Spider-Girl in this which I read, which if I can get a better look on it, there we are. So it had an issue of Spider-Girl in there which covered a bit of Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Girl in it. So that was pretty cool. It also included an issue of the Spider-Clan, which is the manga universe Spider-Man, which I thought was pretty cool. Because I'm a big fan of anime and manga, I was interested to read this, and the artwork is just it's really cool. I really like the artwork of it. The story's really interesting as well. So yeah, just a couple small collection stuff in it. Another one I got at the same time, which was Spider-Man J, which is a Spider-Man manga series. Not like the Japanese drama Spider-Man series. Completely different. It's like an original manga. And I've read like one chapter of it so far. I've not been reading my manga lately, which I need to get back into. But the story so far is really good. It's interesting. The Spider-Man's pretty cool in this. Yeah. And something I got out of a charity shop, which I got for like 50p, which I thought was pretty cool, which is a Stan Lee Presents the Incredible Hulk miniature paperback, which is pretty cool. Issue 1 through 6 complete and unabridged of the Hulk. But I'll show you what it's like, because the artwork and the text is so small. It is really small. It'll be alright for me to read because I've got it close to my face, but I can't show it to the camera very well because the artwork is so small. It's good, but man, is it small. So mostly, I've got to think mostly. I think my Marvel paperback hardcover collection is pretty big. All the books are just really thick. Alright, so I've done my Marvel stuff, now to move on to my DC stuff, which I'm more of a DC person, I must admit. Marvel, I love it for the cartoons and the TV series and all that through early times, but comic book wise, I'm more into DC, I'd say. So, just try not to spoil anything before I've read it, shown it off. I'm going to say this, which I got recently, a little after my birthday, which is the Final Crisis paperback, which collects about like 12 issues involved, and it puts it in the right order that you need to read it in, which is pretty cool. So I've been interested in reading this because it's got the return of Barry Allen as the Flash. It's got the death of a couple characters involved and stuff, and this is before Blackest Night, so I want to read this. Just waiting until I'm motivated enough to read it. I'm a little held back on it at the moment. The next thing I'm going to show, which is what I got instead of those two Ultimate Spider-Man volumes, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths paperback. This story is just incredible. I love the story of this, and I read Infinite Crisis. I've got the 7 separate issues, which I got 4 of them when my comic book shop was closing down, and I collected the other 3 off eBay, and I got the cover arts that I wanted, and I read through that, and I really enjoyed the storyline. And I was going to do a review of this of the Infinite Crisis story, but I didn't think I could do a good enough job for it, so I decided to leave it for now until I think I can do a better job. But this story is really good. It changed a lot of the whole DC universe and stuff, the different universes like Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth X. Really good story. It starts off really scattered and a bit confusing, but after a couple issues you really know what's going on. And the story is just incredible. I love the story of it. And when I read Infinite Crisis beforehand, reading this, it filled in a couple of some of the things I didn't know. But this story is incredible. If you're a big fan of DC, it's a good read. A great cast of characters involved. So many characters involved. The story is pretty damn cool. So yep. Next thing I got when I got MCM with Crisis on Infinite Earths from somewhere else, I got the Blackest Night paperback. And I read through this the night before Halloween because I had plans on Halloween. It's a really good story. It got me really interested into looking into the character Firestorm, and obviously he's recently now actually a character in the Flash at the moment. Like if you haven't seen it yet, they're in control now. Firestorm is actually there, which is pretty cool. And yeah, the story was pretty cool. It was quite a good read. I'm going to probably read it next Halloween as well, because I really think it's quite creepy and dark to it. So, yeah, it's a good storyline. and it's just after the revival of The Flash, and I think a little bit after the revival of Hal Jordan as well, so which is pretty cool. Another paperback I've got here, which I got really cheaply, which is the first series of Batman of the Future, or Batman Beyond. It collects the original 6 issues. Oh, that damn phone. It collects the 6 issues of the first series of Batman of the Future that came out. I think it came out before the TV series, so it was interesting to see how they changed it, how they adapted it for a TV series. But I love Batman Beyond. I love Terry McGinnis as Batman, stuff like that. I've got a couple future end issues which I'm reading through, but I don't know if I'm going to get the paperback or try and collect all the issues because the series is going to end soon, I think. But yeah, okay. Here's a New 52 series I got into late last year, which I started reading, I think, after the TV show started. But I was a fan of him anyway, and that's The Flash. So I've got Volume 1 of the New 52, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4, which I got, which I read through a little while ago, and I enjoyed looking at seeing all the different kind of Flashes, from Bart Allen in Smallville to Wally West in the Justice League. I'm pretty sure that it is probably Bart in the Teen Titans TV series, since Wally West was already in the Justice League series. But I might do a talk about that kind of stuff later. But yeah, I liked Flash in all the animated movies. I liked Wally West in Young Justice, and Young Justice was kind of like the Teen Titans series that I love to read the most, Volume 3. That's kind of like my Teen Titans, the Young Justice TV series, and it sucks it ended the way it did. Which I will do a talk about because I'm still pissed about that, at the ending of that. But yeah, I've been reading the New 52 of The Flash. It's really good so far. Volume 5 just came out on hardcover, but I have to wait a couple months before the paperback comes out, which I didn't know that. I thought the paperback came out first instead of the hardcover, which makes me think I should have got these in hardcover first, because then I can just carry on with the story, but I've got to wait a couple months. And as soon as Volume 5 comes out in paperback, Volume 6 comes out on hardcover, which is just another waiting period, which is quite annoying. Although Volume 1 is a little difficult to get hold of now, so I'm kind of mixed feeling on that. It's just annoying having to wait, since I really was looking forward to reading Volume 5 and 6. And my favourite, I'm going to say my favourite superhero of the TV show in comics is Static Shock, and I've got the New 52 paperback collecting his 8-issue series, which got cancelled unfortunately. But yeah, my favourite superhero, I love reading this, really good story, really interesting, and I know that there's a chance he's going to appear in the Teen Titans New 52, which I want to start reading, but I'm getting into so many different series at the moment that I can't keep up. Here's 2 paperbacks that I put in a comic book cover because I didn't have enough spare at the time. So here's before the New 52. This is pre-New 52. Blue Beetle Boundaries and Endgame, which I got for a good enough price, which I haven't read through yet. I'm just going to wait. I know there's about 6 of them, and they're not numbered, which is annoying. But I've got a list of what goes when and stuff, and I might get the rest of them, might just read those, I'm not sure at the moment. But yeah, that's my Marvel and DC stuff. I've got a few other stuff to the side of me that I'm going to show up, that I want to show. I'll go with these first, and that's Star Wars Omnibus Volume 1, which collects a bunch of Star Wars, or Clone Wars comic book stories. It says which issues are covered, like in the first 2 pages. It tells you which ones are covered, and the bookmark's later. I'm about halfway through the book. I got it quite a while back, but I started reading it again just recently, and covering a few more issues. I'm just going to take a small stride in this because I don't need to rush to read through this, and I also got Volume 3 of it as well, which I'm not going to read until I've got Volume 2 at least, or read through Volume 2, which I know I can get, but I'm not in a rush to complete the series yet. which I got for the people that were selling these for about 20 quid each. I got them for 8 quid. I don't know how old these are or what, but so far I'm really enjoying it. I love the Clone Wars, the old TV series that was on Toonami, and I watched a couple old episodes of the Clone Wars that just recently finished a little while ago. I enjoyed that as well. Now, actually I'm going to talk about these last. Something my auntie got me a while back, quite a while back, which I still haven't read yet, which is Transformers: Eye of the Storm, which collects a bunch of really old Transformer comic books, and I love reading Transformer comics. I've got a collection of like Transformer Armada, Energon, the recent series by IDW, some of the older issues I've got there, a bunch of random issues as well. I love reading about the Transformers. I think it's a pretty good thing to read about. And this is like the Generation 1 stuff, which is pretty cool, which I need to read, but I'm not really motivated at the moment, which is my problem. I'm not motivated for a lot of reading of the stuff, but I do read a decent amount of it. So yeah, I've got that to read sometime. And here's a series that I've just got into. I've been on a major TMNT hype at the moment. I watched the 2007 movie last night. I've been watching the 2012 series. I've gone through seasons 1 and 2. I've watched a few episodes of season 3. And I just recently got the first few volumes of the graphic novel series. And so I've got volume 1 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I read through, which was pretty cool. On volume 2, I've only got one more issue to read. And I've got volume 3 ready for after that, which has the Shredder appearing, which is going to be pretty good. Now I've got the first issue of this series, which I've had for quite a while, which I haven't read yet. I was going to read it one time, but I decided I got distracted. I think I can't remember what by, and so I put it away, and I just hadn't got back to reading it. I read the first issue the other day, and where the first issue left off with, it was so. The time span of the Turtles appearing in New York and becoming like ninjas and stuff was quite weird to me. But I read a little bit of a plot summary online, and that just explained a little bit more to me. I got these 3 volumes pretty good off eBay. I got them for a pretty good price from this guy that was getting rid of some of his collection because he was moving and stuff. And I read through the first volume, and I was fine. Like it was interesting enough. It was good enough. A different origin story. I had a little issue with it, but so I'll probably do a review or discussion about this because it is a good enough. It is an interesting story to look at. The IDW series is pretty different, but yeah, it's kind of weird to get into. But if you can read like the first 4 issues and see if that settles with you, because in this, instead of it being they mutate and they've been training for years. They're mutated, but they've like from a previous life. Like Splinter from a previous life had a wife and 4 sons. The wife. I don't want to really ruin it for you, but it's basically a story of reincarnation. But even the Turtles aren't fully sure of what Master Splinter tells them is true. So it's not like they automatically believe him, but it is interesting where it is so far, and I've heard the story gets even better. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I need to get the micro series and the Turtles in Time paperback as well. Because I know volume 10 is out at the moment, so I've got. I'm not going to get a couple volumes for a while at least. I'm going to slowly build up, so hopefully when I get to volume 10, volume 11 comes out. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to reading through this series. And the 2012 series is actually still pretty good. I watched the first 12 episodes, and then now I'm on season 3. I watched the first 12 episodes like midway through last year. I just randomly watched through 12 of them and stopped for a while. That series combines so much of the original trilogy of movies with the 80s cartoon, with some stuff from the 2003 cartoon. It is a really good series. It is a really good series. And just to say, in season 3, they changed the voice actor of Leo, and it's Seth Green who voices him in the 3rd series. But they give a bit of an explanation why his voice changes, which I think is fair enough cover up, to be honest. And if you didn't know, Jason Biggs from American Pie and Orange is the New Black does the voice of Leo for like the first season and halfway through the second one. They changed the voice actor in the second season from Jason Biggs to somebody else. I can't remember his name. But the voices aren't that much different, so you can still get along with the voice. It's not that much of a difference. But yeah, so that's my let's see if I can pull the collection back. That's my hardcover paperback collection. Yep. Thanks for watching this. If you've got any questions about a certain series or anything, go ahead and ask me. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm now doing Twitch streams every now and then from my PlayStation 4. If you want to check that out, I normally announce it beforehand on my Twitter. If you want to check out my Twitter down below, I've got a GameSpot account where I do reviews and blog stuff. If you want to check that out, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to check out, I also did a PS3 collection and an Xbox 360 collection video. If you want to check those out, go ahead. I might do a vlog video soon. But yeah, it's Catching 4 saying thank you and goodbye.